Okay, so we're in Riga, 22nd of April, 2012, and
And everything is fine.
everything is fine by default.
Yeah.
And you are Cesar Teruel.
That's what people say, yeah.
You know, for people who don't know you at all, it would be very good to hear, in short, the story, how you came to the point where you sit here in this chair and how people actually wait for you to tell them something.
That's a long story. Let's see if I can make it short. I was born in in the capital of Venezuela, in Caracas, and my parents decided to go to Margarita Island. It's an island in the Caribbean Sea that belongs to Venezuela. I was maybe between 4 and 6 years old. And I grew up in a mini paradise, in a family that was not rich, but there was a lot of comforts and stuff. One can say, we call it in Venezuela like a high middle class or whatever. But somehow, since I am a child, I couldn't understand a thing about what anyone was saying, doing, talking about. I couldn't understand adults at all. And there was some kind of a questions within me, puzzling me, even without being able to formulate the question. You see, without even having the possibility to raise questions, I was already somehow inside questioning all what was happening around me. I couldn't believe a thing. I couldn't understand their behavior. And I couldn't see the reasons why they behaved in that way. And I thought, if you want me to be like that, you gotta be joking. I'm not going there. So there was kind of a rebelliousness within myself that I never showed up. I was a very quiet, shy boy until something dramatically happened in my life. I knew that my parents were not, my mother was not my mother, and I was 11 years old, and that created kind of a psychological trauma within myself. All that is gone, is over. We have a beautiful relationship now. We are very good friends all together.
How did you know your mother is not your mother?
I just somehow knew it from my brothers or something. In one way or another, I realized that for 11 years, the woman that I was believing was my mother was not my mother. And then when I was told that, and that was quite shocking, you know. And I said, well, that's a lie, and people lie, and this planet is a lie, everybody's a liar. And so this was a confirmation of what I was intuitively recognizing. These people are crazy, these people don't know what they say, they don't know what they do, they say one thing, it was a complete confusion. And I'm very thankful actually that that happened, because otherwise I wouldn't be here talking to you about this subject. I wouldn't have to start inquiring about what is the meaning of life? What am I doing here? Who am I? What is this all about? And that was the beginning of the search. I became a seeker. I'm seeking for the truth, what the truth is all about. And from that point onwards, I rejected any external authority. I lost completely and absolute respect for the system altogether. Family, society, culture, tradition, politics, economy, religion, everything, it just was wiped out from my system as a belief. I couldn't believe in that anymore, because it was a contradiction. And there was violence, and there was conflict, and there was lies, and there was all sorts of things that I couldn't understand. But this prompted the search. See, I was fascinated by human nature. I wanted to understand human nature, why these guys behave the way they behave. Until I understood. It's just based upon ideas, and the idea of individuality, the idea of being a separate individual self that is in control of what is happening in planet Earth or in the universe, which is the so-called ego. The ego and the alter ego, which is enlightened ego also. It's also an idea, it's also a concept. Yeah, this is how I get here. And I found that the only way to understand yourself is to look at what you call yourself and realize that what you are is not what you are. What you are is a conglomeration of thoughts and ideas and beliefs that you are carrying with you, that has been transmitted generation after generation, and we hold an identity based upon that. That is me. See? An original thought, which is identification, limitation to a particular individual form, and then one self attach a whole bunch of other identifications to that. I am this, I am that, like this, like that, etc., etc., etc. All thoughts, all ideas, all concepts. I don't understand an awakening, enlightenment, or liberation in the way many people understand it, kind of a spiritual thing that happens and bang, and then you are in a permanent state of bliss, etc., etc. No, I don't understand liberation or awakening or enlightenment in that way. It's like something in enlightening. It's like a lightning strikes you. See, like a lightning strikes you, and there is an understanding of this fact. And then there is a complete process of devastation of your psychological behavior. It just collapses. And this can be accompanied by a very uncomfortable physical sensations, because all your cells in the body are conditioned by this psychological stuff. And when that is wiped out of your system, when that is disbelieved, and there is no identity with that anymore, some sort of funny experiences in the body can happen. So it's not as blissful and beautiful and peaceful as people believe it is. It can be quite unpleasant.
But how do you feel now?
Absolutely right.
You've gone through the whole process of transformation? Or do you still feel shaky sometimes? And
sometimes something may arise, but automatically it's like it happens automatically. The nonsense is seen, and it doesn't have the time or the space to become an action, to become this pattern of behavior. You simply loses the power to express itself through this organism, through this mechanism. It can't, because it's not believed anymore. So it's recognized for what it is immediately, in no time.
Did someone help you to realize that?
Yeah, I would say that yes. I attended some lectures and I met some people along the way and I read some books. But what I was reading was more a confirmation of something that I already intuitively knew. See, more than somebody was giving me or telling me something. We carry this wisdom with us. We carry this with us. It's just covered by concepts and beliefs, and society and culture and family and tradition makes sure that is completely covered, so you cannot remember that.
Why do you think that happens? Why is it covered? Why is it hidden?
Because sometimes, somehow along the way, in the history of humanity, the idea of separate existence came across. There is no reason, there is no why, there's no one to blame. It's nothing that we can. When I speak about society and culture, I'm talking about ideas. I'm not talking about a particular person. See, sometimes people understand that I am talking about politics. I'm talking about the banking system. I'm talking about the bankers, or my parents, or my family, or the. No. I'm talking about an idea. The person is an idea. I'm not talking about somebody in particular, because the somebody in particular doesn't exist. It's only a thought. It's imagination. And what was the question? I forgot already. Why? How it happens? It just happens. I understood that it simply happened. The idea of being someone simply arises. I am here. It's like life somehow imaginarily, mentally split into subject and object, and I am here and you are there. And in human existence, in human form, that becomes deeply rooted, becomes deeply strong. And then we started suffering from a sense of incompleteness, that something is missing. I am not complete, I am not whole. And that creates a search for an imaginary sense of oneness, that it is based upon acquisition of objects or person or whatever it is. So when I get this, I am complete and I'm whole, I'm full, I'm satisfied. When I get married, when I have my children, when I graduate university, when I have my house, my car, and my X amount of zeros in my bank account, then I am a realized human being. Or when I get enlightened, whatever it is that you're going to get.
So the people who come to your talks, they basically decided they can't get it through things, and they search for some other way.
They think they
to
can
become
get
whole.
something. They think they can get something, and that something will make their life better. And life is perfectly alright as it is. If you get enlightened, life doesn't change. Life is still as chaotic as it used to be, and you still have to pay bills, you have to go to the office and find a way to get money to survive in the planet. As long as you live in this madness, you will have to find your way through. But there is a clear understanding that there is no separation between you and what you're experiencing, between you and society, you and culture, you and the planet, you and the universe. There's no you as a separate entity. That is what realization or enlightenment or awakening, if you like to call it, really means. It's a recognition that there is no separation. You cannot separate the experiencer, the experienced, and the act of experiencing. You cannot separate that which is conscious, what that is conscious of, and consciousness, which somehow one can say unites them. There's no separation at all. I can experience you, and in a sense, there is a kind of a very subtle form of duality. I am experiencing you, but there is also an understanding that you are not separate from me, the experiencer of you. They are one and the same.
So, sitting here right now, you actually do feel that you're talking to yourself all the time?
Feel I'm just talking.
Just talking, yeah.
The talking is
one
just
or two, they're just
no,
talking.
the talking is just happening, and your talking is just happening, and there is consciousness of that, awareness of that, and there is no separation between the two. The recognizer of the talk and the talk are one and the same. There's no separation at all. There's no individual entity here.
Are you afraid of anything?
I'm not a fan of. I'm only afraid of sharks.
Caribbean
I know
ones.
why. This was because a child, whatever. But no, it's the only fear that this organism experiences is a rational fear that comes in the package, for the survival of this body, which is the instinct of survival. So I'm in the forest and I see a lion. Definitely I will be afraid. I will not be a stupid enlightened being and believing that the lion is one with me and then I will go and touch him because I am full of love and the lion will fall at my feet. It's absolute rubbish. I will find my way out of there, or to make sure that I will do something so the lion doesn't bother me. So that's a rational fear that the organism is programmed like a computer. This is a computer that is programmed genetically and then psychologically. Then there's a natural fear that arises, a rush of adrenaline in your body when you see that your children is too close to the window. Something pushes this energy, creates this release of hormones, and that produces the rush to try to catch this boy, so it will not fall through the window.
So for you, acting is like digesting.
Acting is just acting. Acting is just being.
But we normal humans think that we act. It's we who are in control of our actions. Digestion happens automatically. Everything else happens manually.
Automatically. The hair grows automatically. The heart beats automatically. The wind blows automatically. See, the beating of the heart is happening. The growing of the hair, the blowing of the wind, the shining of the sun, the flowing of the river, the growing of the flower. That is just happening, and somehow there is a recognition of that. But you cannot separate the two. What is happening and the recognizer of what is happening, you cannot separate them. They are one and the same thing. Nobody's in control. There's no individual self, no person that is in control of anything in the universe.
It just seems that our decisions are not automatic. It's like they're made manually.
It seems, and this it seems is the so-called illusion. The illusion of free will. The illusion of freedom of choice. At least exercised by someone.
Do many people understand you?
I don't know. I don't think so, honestly. I question the amount of people that understand what I'm talking about. When I go to speak with people, 200 people, I don't know if one or two maybe having a glimpse of what I am trying to say. So I'm not sure about that, honestly.
What do you think is the reason for this?
Because they are too attached to their belief and their ideas. So they listen to what I say. It sounds interesting. It sounds true for them. Actually, it sounds quite adventurous, but nobody wants to go there because everybody is afraid to lose what they have in order to live in such a way. Because if you disbelieve in what you think you are, which is a whole bunch of ideas, there may be a radical transformation in your behavior, and that may bring consequences in your life. At the beginning, not even you may like them, and people around you may not like them, because you will find that the only thing that you really, really need to go out of this house is to get something to eat, maybe some exercises for the body to keep its fitness, and that's it.
Some people are
It's
also
like the only desires that remain, the only tendencies one can say that remain after that are those for the survival of this organism, this body, nothing else.
maybe survival also the close ones,
Or the close one, yes, because we are humans, we are
the family and all that.
well, somehow, because when you say we are humans, we are also creating a limitation. See, then you limited yourself to a particular species in the planet. So that's a human family is a conglomeration of thoughts. An individual thought, I am a human, and then all these humans are a conglomeration of thoughts and ideas too.
But let's say if you're a father, you have children.
Definitely you take care of them, there's no question about it. You don't become a piece of wood or stone, actionless or motiveless and all that stuff. You just start running after psychological needs, false needs. They are psychological dependencies. They are not real needs, they're just ideas. You are eating ideas, dressing ideas, getting married with ideas, getting divorced with ideas, and see, dancing ideas and singing ideas and concepts and beliefs. This is all what we're doing. We're completely crazy.
So basically, the main thing that changes is self-identification.
Self-identification is gone. There is no self. There's no identification with anything. You cannot identify yourself.
You're just basically, there's no you, but
You
there's
are.
a watching of movie, yeah, so to speak.
One can say there is the watching of the movies going on. That's all. But there's no watcher of the movie.
Yeah.
This song is happening now. This music.
Like the movie watches itself.
The life watches itself. Life experiences itself. Life is living life. No one else is there.
And do you have some kind of method, or do you hope only for understanding?
Understanding. And this understanding comes if you dare to look at yourself for 5 minutes, and then you will realize that you're full of it. That you're full of rubbish, or you're full of concepts and beliefs, and you realize that 99% of your behavior is conditioned by concept, is conditioned by something that somebody put in your head at some point in your life. And this is what you are running after to or away from. An idea that promises you that when you achieve that, when you get there, or when you run away from there and you get rid of that, then you will be complete, you will be happy, everything will be okay. My question is, why are you not okay now? That's my question. I just basically ask questions to people. They ask me questions and I go back with questions. So I'm telling them in a way, question yourself, question, doubt. See? Doubt. Be skeptical. Look around you and see what is happening and find the answer for yourself. And there is thinking is a new thing in human species. See, thinking was not there some time ago in human form, but somehow language came into existence and then we were conditioned to think. But when you observe, when you really, really radically you observe, a different quality of thinking arises, a complete different quality of thinking arises. The questioning then comes into existence. Then the mind starts becoming your friend and no longer your enemy. And then it's a complete different quality of functioning of your thinking process. Because you cannot get rid of thinking. Maybe after some time...
Just by watching the thought process.
Once in your thought process, you will think, what on earth is going on here? So then it's another quality of thinking that takes over. See, so the psychological thinking is wiped out by this kind of inquiry thinking or practical thinking or inquisitive thinking or whatever. Some kind of inquiry emerges by itself. See, something that has a complete different form of expression happens by itself. Only by bringing, how do you say that in English? Your awareness. quote, end of the quote, onto what you call yourself. And you will find that there is no yourself at all. That what you call yourself is a whole bunch of thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
I am a man, I am Venezuelan, I am a Christian, I am a father, I am a son, I am a brother, I am an architect, and I'm a lawyer, and I'm whatever.
But you got to give it time to settle down.
This takes time to
settle. It looks like a mud in the can, which is...
The first moment that you understand the illusoriness of what you are all together with the rest of it doesn't take time. This is something that radically strikes you. Bang, it's shocking. It's like, mamma mia. It's like a big wow, like, pfft. It is all an illusion. It is all a thought. It is all a concept, and has been lost in that for thousands of years because it's not you or me who has this problem. This is a problem that doesn't belong to you or me. There is no you or me. There is just this. Just the conditioning. And then it's a moment that puff. And then some kind of a momentum happens. And there is a radical understanding of the fact that there is no separation, that there is no you and what happens, that you are actually this moment exactly as it is. You are what is happening. And I have to say you again for the sake of communication. This is why language, this is the only reason why language carries on functioning after this recognition, for the sake of communication and practice stuff of human life. To deal with the practicality of human life. But there is also an understanding that what I'm talking about means absolutely nothing. This is just not different than the whistling of a parrot.
Perhaps there can be, or maybe there was, a non-dual language.
There it is a non-dual language, and we experience that during a day, and it's so beautiful, but we don't give importance to that because then thinking takes over and becomes the real thing and the important thing in your life. Thought becomes the thing, especially in men. Women are more sensible in that sense. They express feelings as feelings. They don't turn them into thoughts, into concepts. I learned that. I experienced that somehow for a bizarre reason. I was really attracted to the women phenomenon, but not in a sexual way, or not in a way to possess them. Is that they were communicating themselves, and you could feel some kind of an energy trying to express itself through that particular species, the women, and it was not distorted by thoughts. It was men and more. Everything goes becomes a concept, and they talk about it. They're just feeling and expressing in a completely different way. So there is a momentum of recognition of this fact. And then after that momentum, the nonsense comes back. And it cannot survive because you know that this is not true. And then you don't know what to do because you have the pull to run after that again, to act and react conditioned by this psychological thinking. But there is something on the other hand that says, no, you can't do it anymore because it makes no sense. So you have this kind of an inner battle for some time. And then some kind of no, I don't want to let go of that, but you know that you have to let it go, and then you go through your inner turmoil until this thing called psychological thinking, if you want to, gets completely devastated, exhausted, by expressing itself, by trying to become action, to these patterns of behavior that try to repeat themselves, these tendencies that try to materialize. You see them and they start losing their power, and they don't control the behavior of the body anymore. And you feel that physically because the body is conditioned by that. See, it's a physical thing that you experience in the body. There is no spiritual thing going on here. It's just all physical. It has all to do with chemistry and hormones and chemicals in the body and all that stuff.
So what do you think people who get involved in any kind of spiritual practices do? Starting from going to church to singing mantras and doing some meditation practices, trying to awaken Kundalini?
Try to awaken Kundalini. See, all what they want to do through effort happens by itself if you let everything go. All what the spiritual seekers want to attain, the opening of the chakra, the whatever it calls it, eye and kundalini, and all these weird phenomena, they are physical phenomena. They are not spiritual phenomenon at all. They are physical phenomenon. The only thing that you can experience is physicality. It's just matter. That which experiences matter cannot be experienced, and you can call that a spirit if you want. I don't like to use this terminology anymore because get quite confused, because then you develop another identity, believing that you are the spirit only, you are a spiritual being, a being of light, etc., etc. And then now you separate again yourself from the rest. First you believe you are the body and there is a Holy Spirit there from whom you feel separate. Then you feel that you are the Holy Spirit and you separate from yourself from what you experience. So you change one identity for another identity. That is the alter ego. Then, or superego, let's call it in a different way. But then you realize that you cannot separate the two. So what is the you there? Where is the self there? Where is the I there? You can't place an I anywhere.
This I, does it come from basically your parents? From listening to it from the childhood?
Well, yeah, but if your parents got it from their parents and the parents from the parents of the
No,
parents...
I don't mean them as the source, but I mean, where does a person get this?
Well, you get it from outside. You got it from outside, but it came out from inside, so to speak, inside. See, you took it from outside, but when it came originally, it didn't come from outside. It came from very much from life. That's a paradox. Nobody can understand this. Nobody can explain this. We can only describe it as a fact, but there's no explanation for that. The sense of individuality, the sense of separation simply arose and started expressing itself in human form. It's no place that you can point your finger and say, this is the responsibility. You cannot even blame yourself because it is not yourself. Yourself is already the condition in itself, this thought form. So you cannot blame the thought for being there. And you cannot blame anybody. You see? This is why after this happens, you don't try to change the society, you don't try to destroy the system, you don't try to fight against anything or anyone. See, it's not that you become now against something. You just simply forget about it. And not because you want to destroy the system, it's just simply you don't cooperate with it, you just don't go there. See, you just don't eat that rubbish, you don't dress that nonsense, you don't dance that music, you simply don't do that because you realize that there's no point in doing that. It's a waste of time and energy and money, etc., etc. So you don't become a rebellious man. Also, you know that the system is within you. You cannot separate yourself from it. So there is no you and the chaos. So the chaos is very much within you. Then you have no conflict with it because there is no separation. But you know that it's going to collapse. You just sit down and witness the apocalypse, what we call the belief system that is running humanity. Because when you don't believe in it, it collapses within you. If it collapses within you, it collapses outside.
So you are what you believe in, yeah?
No.
And if you stop believing, then you're not nothing.
You think you are what you believe in.
Yeah, well, thinking is believing.
You are, that's all, full stop, you exist, that's all, finished. Everything finishes there. When there is an understanding of this fact, there's nothing to talk about in reality. Or if it is for the practicality of the matter, would you like a cup of tea, I'm hungry, how can we fix that? Do we have food in the fridge? No, let's go and get some food, whatever. So thinking happens just also for the survival of the organism. This is something that happens, that you cannot get rid of that, at least for now. Maybe eventually, as a process of evolution, even this thinking process will stop. It was not there before. See, a bird doesn't think where to fly and where to find the food. It just goes for it. It just happens. You see, the functioning of life simply happening without thought. But in humans, because of this funny phenomenon called thinking, it stays there.
Have you met many enlightened beings along the way?
Jesus, I saw people that somehow got a moment of clarity, but along the way they got lost in a different trap, in a new form of identification, which is I am an enlightened being, and then you become a guru, and then you get lost You become a prisoner of your own belief now, a new belief, and a prisoner of the conditions that are created around you, which is the guru life and the student life and the spiritual communities, and then you get lost in a different room of your psychological thinking. You are still in the same man house. You are just shifting from one room to another.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw many of them at the beginning talking in a very clear way, very nice. I was one of them. I was also part of this clan until I realized, wake up! You are lost in another momentum of your psychological thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And then you drop that your last identification, which is I am an enlightened being. I realize the truth, and I know, and that is a fact. Okay, but it becomes a concept, and then you develop an identity with that too. And if you are not really careful, then you get trapped there for the rest of your life, in a guru trap. And many of them are just there. They begin in a very nice way, and then you see them getting lost along the way itself.
I'm just wondering.
Spiritual communities and living in communities and allowing themselves to all this madness to happen around them and building ashram, and all this money goes for that particular purposes, and then you have a guru parasite of the devotees, and the devotees also parasites of the society, because it's very nice to be to renounce the world when you have a father or somebody that has a credit card and goes on sending money to you. See, so we become parasites. The guru becomes parasites and the students become parasites too. It's called spiritual parasitism. See, all in the name of an idea called enlightenment, for the sake of enlightenment, and the guru under the belief of being enlightened or something, whatever that means. So there you are.
No, you know what I'm wondering about? Well, I mean, I get your main idea, and I understand there are no real substantial questions left.
I made few of them, I should say. A very good friend of mine. Okay. We speak about the subject, but we are not interested about the subject. So the seeker speaks about the subject, interested about the subject. We speak about the subject, but there is no interest whatsoever in spirituality.
Do you have any interests? Like, I don't know, you've seen something interesting on Amazon or eBay, or just saw something interesting in the news? Is there anything that kind of...
The only thing that I basically read are the emails that I get, and if there are questions that they are sensible, then I reply to them, and some kind of a comment that seems to be clear, and then you acknowledge them so the person can have a confirmation that what they think or how they perceive reality is the right way to perceive it without the me. But apart from what I want to eat for lunch, and if I have enough clean clothes or whatever, I don't know, apart from that there is no interest whatsoever, because this...
Anything? Riding horses, I don't know.
Not at all, not at all. Riding horses.
Going to hills,
nothing.
Having a good lunch.
Well, maybe you may like to go for proper food, and then you may have to search in the menu or whatever, and you look around the city, what is it? As any other species, you will look for the best of the best to sustain the body, for the best materials to build a house, for the best material to create clothes, for the best. Every species looks for the best, and this organism is not different.
Would our evolution come to this level of modern, society if we would have so many enlightened beings?
I don't know.
I think it would be more like Indians, no?
I don't know. Indians, why do you bring Indians into the picture?
I mean, we would not go into science, into all this complex matter of mind.
India is the craziest society in the planet, let me tell you that.
Indians like, these, guys.
These Indians. Do you mean the Aborigines?
Yes.
Aborigines. I don't know. Maybe if we I don't know. Nobody can say. Nobody can predict that. I can't predict that. I only can see this question in two different ways. Either human madness goes completely crazy and push a few buttons and this planet is devastated and we have to go back to the, believe me, to the Stone Age. Or humanity wakes up and then uses the science and the technology in a complete different way. That may be the possibility that humans may not have even to work ever again. Okay, thanks to technology and knowledge.
Yeah,
Or
right.
there will be a big devastations and of course there will be no power, there will be nothing, and then we have to go back to taking an arrow and a bow and look for something to eat. One of the two. So we are in that junction actually. Humanity is right in that junction in this moment when either go this way or that way. Because what you see around you is absolutely crazy and I don't think it's going to survive for too long. Everything is poison, food is poison, whatever you eat is poison, the air that you breathe is poison, the water that you drink is poison, the food that you eat is poison. So what you wear is also poison. So we are poisoning ourselves with ideas and concepts and beliefs. We are killing ourselves. So for me, awakening is more than an spiritual experiences, and you selfishly are going to enjoy. See, this is something that concerns. We have time. Something that concerns not only humanity, that concerns the entire ecosystem, the entire planet. I'm not giving a political speech. I'm not believe I am a messiah or anything. I'm just speaking. I'm not even talking about what I think. I'm talking about what I see, and then what I see then expresses itself in thought form, because otherwise I won't be able to communicate with you, because you won't understand anything but through thinking. Because it's natural, you have been educated, I have been educated in that way. We can't help it.
Do you get lost sometimes in a thought? You know?
No, I get lost in the city. Yesterday I got lost, I didn't remember how to get to the hall. But I get lost in my mind, there's nowhere that you can get.
You're saying once you recognize there is no I, you don't get lost in anything?
You don't get lost. Where is there's no you who can get lost anywhere, because there is no you on the place where you are. You are where you are. Always you are where you are. Even if you get lost, you are not lost. You are where you are. You are not lost, you are there. You are exactly in the place where you are supposed to be, doing exactly what you are supposed to be doing.
Okay, so the problem is the duality.
The duality.
All the time. You are lost in something.
I am lost in something. I am experiencing something. See?
So thinking still occurs, but it's no longer...
it's no longer a problem.
No longer a problem, yeah.
Nothing. I said that yesterday, oh Jesus, fuck, I'm lost here. Okay, it's ridiculous because I come back home from this lecture hall that is just 15 minutes walking distance. But I always go back here. Somehow yesterday, I said, Jesus, I can't believe I'm lost. It's just, I know that it's 2 or 3 tons. I don't know how to get there. I said, what shall I do now? And then, no taxi, I don't know, because of the weekend, no taxis were passing by. And then I was walking, and then I saw a taxi parking there, but nobody was inside. And then somebody was coming from the restaurant, walking to the taxi, and I say, are you working? And I say, yes. And I didn't remember the address because it is in your language, it's complicated. And then something came out, oh, my computer, internet, whatever, website, and Scuola's number 6. Yes, it's there. By the way, he charged me 20
lads?
20 lads. From 3 minutes, I think it was a rip-off. Was that rip-off? I believe it was
a tremendous rip-off.
A tremendous rip-off, no? So I pay. That's the humanity, you see. I see something, and I see the opportunity to take advantage of that. I'm taking advantage of another human being. This guy doesn't know the city, doesn't know a thing, okay? And I charge him whatever he wants. I believe it would have been like 5 or something. Like then I was charged 20 for 3 blocks of drive. But I didn't have the knowledge to complain. I didn't have the language to complain. So I said, well, okay. Thankfully, I have the money, and then I just went to the lecture hall. That's all. So that's an example of human behavior, okay? We are just drapers. We're trying to rip somebody off in one way or another. Because we believe we are separate, you see. I'm separate from you. I couldn't care less about you. And this is what the society teaches you. Hmm? Even if you have to kill somebody to get what you want, then you are willing to do so. This is what we call, this is individual, family, culture, tradition, and the rest.
Do you have a family?
I do have a family. I have my parents, yes. And I have children, twins, boy and a girl. They are going to be 22 in June, 22 years old.
Both?
Both, yeah, they're twins.
Oh, wow.
Boy and a girl, yeah. And I still, even when they're already big boys, they still have some needs. And if I can supply these needs, then I'm there. If I can be physically there, I'm trying to be physically there as much as I can. If I can be financially there supporting, then I am there. And emotionally supportive whenever they need. So nothing changes.
How long ago did you realize?
It's not possible to say, because when what I called realization happened, I realized it didn't happen that moment. I had glimpses of that. You had glimpses of that. This is not a big thing. This is not a mystery. You got this and you realized this.
I mean, probably a lot of things changed.
Children, when I was a child, there was a regular experience that used to happen. My father had a small yacht. And he was fanatic of the yacht and the sea. Of course, we were in an island. But that was one of the times that I enjoyed the most. To be alone in nature, in the ocean with my dad. And I remember sitting on the flying bridge, which is like, the yacht has these things on top, and you can either yacht from inside or from the top.
Mm.
And actually used to spend time there alone, or even sleep there. I used to sleep there. With comfortable bed, but for some reason I wanted to sleep there. I was never concerned about comforts. Even when I was a spoiled brat, I was not concerned about that stuff. I would sleep anywhere under any circumstances, or eat anything, or be with anyone. Then I remember this experience of the wind blowing, and when the wind blows, it produces a particular sound in your ear, like a whoosh, and that will blow away. So I will be so attracted by that experience, so fascinated by that momentum, that my thinking process will disappear. And there was a clear understanding that the eyes are not seen. The eyes are seen. Something sees the eye, and that's not separate from the scene. There was no separation. There was a sense of... So the sense of individuality will get dissolved in the actual reality, which is a totality. So I remember that, having this experience many times. But I didn't know. You don't know that there is a fancy name for that particular condition called enlightenment. So you don't know what is that all about, because you forget that, and you go back again to your idea of being a boy, a separate entity, you see, individual self, etc., etc., etc.
But did much change in your relationships with your children and maybe your wife?
Definitely. My children are not my children. My children are just...
But before you probably thought and you were controlling in a way, no?
We are friends. See, and if you see myself with my children, you will see this guy is not the father. They are growing together.
Was it like that from the very beginning? Or
no, the very beginning I was quite of a father. And trying to teach them all that stuff and my spiritual knowledge, because I still was going to ashrams and spending time with gurus and reading all this rubbish. So now we are good friends. And I help you as much as I can. And I'm here anytime you want. And your life is your life, and you figure out what is it that you want to do. Why do you want to do it? And we speak about this. We communicate. But I allow them to be the way they are. They let me be the way I am. And then we have a wonderful relationship because of that. And they are very much interested in the subject. My son spends some time with me in India and in Thailand now. And there's an understanding of this. So is my daughter. So There's a clear understanding that what am I doing here? There's no meaning whatsoever. It doesn't really matter what I do. It makes no difference at all. It's just about living. It's about being, actually. So there is an understanding of that. Still, there is a struggle of living according to this understanding, but they had their momentum of recognition that there is no separation, there is no duality. And understanding that the end of the conflict is the end of this idea of being a separate entity.
Have you ever been interested in the concept of karma? I understand now it makes no sense for you, but before maybe?
Before, of course, there was the driving force of my life. Try to transcend the karma, get rid of the karma, not to reincarnate, not come back to this planet, because this planet is the worst place to be. Then you want to go elsewhere, and that's absolute nonsense. It's the only place that you can possibly be is here, and the only thing that you can possibly experience this moment is that body. Otherwise, you would be experiencing something else. Why you are not experiencing something else? Because it is an impossible. So this is a fact that you are living in. This is an actuality that you cannot get rid of. And nothing wrong with this, by the way.
But the idea there is to experience more of nice things and less of painful
Exactly,
things.
that is what spirituality tells you. It's an idea. Spirituality, I like to I have to quote now because otherwise I will sound like a parrot repeating what someone else says, but I like to say that I agree with with Uji Krishnamurti, that says that religion and spirituality are the only business that don't deliver a product. Because you will never see heaven, only when you die. And nobody will be able to come back here and say, yes, this business is good, buy it and come here. So, this is an amazing thing. This body is an amazing thing. It's an extraordinary phenomenon. And we are not experiencing it because we are only here. Somewhere here in an imaginary world.
Do you have any questions?
Спроси по поводу того, что вот голосом разговариваешь, что вообще когда
Okay.
планирую вопрос.
We have a person here at the backstage who has actually conversations with not something imaginary, but an actual inner voice that speaks and can predict future for her and stuff like that. And who actually has a mission for her.
It's your own voice.
Mm-hmm.
The voice that is listening is the voice that is talking. It's only one voice. It's only one voice. I know what you're talking about. I experienced that before. But there's not somebody else apart from yourself. It's your own self, it's your own voice. There is no you and the voice. That's the whole point.
But remember, there was this guy.
This phenomenon can happen, but don't give too much importance to them. It's just another phenomenon. But the mind wants to put a label on experience. So this is more high, this is more important. If it comes to me, so I know more, I am more connected or whatever, or more special or something, you know. But it's not true. This I is the one that I'm talking about. This thought is the one that I'm talking about. The I, the me, that seems to be there as a separate entity in control of what is happening or not happening. Yeah.
Remember the guy Albert?
Albert, yeah, is a nice guy.
I mean, he also had a voice, just not a friendly one.
It's exactly what I'm talking about. It's the same voice. Sometimes it's friendly, sometimes it's not. What is the same?
You're saying that it's the same voice as well.
It's the same voice. The voice that says you are nice and good and you're going to be okay. The same voice that says you are crazy, you go kill yourself. This is my beloved friend Arthur. That look at his boy. Look at the tranquility of this man. Can you see this man?
Yeah.
This man is a river of calmness in that man. And he is in a mental hospital. I don't know why. Still, I don't know why this man is in a mental hospital. Only because it's convenient for the parents, for the family. It's absolute selfish, and they would like to convince everybody and themselves that this is for the good of the boy. It's for their own selfish behavior, so they don't have to deal with Albert being around them, because they wouldn't know what to do with him because he's different. And when something is different, you don't know how to deal with that. When something steps out of your mental square, You don't know how to deal with that. It's impossible for you because you are a computer that functions according to a particular, in a particular way on the particular circumstances. It can react like that. See, this is why if you take a man from the city, put in the jungle, he's going to die. He won't be able to survive in that environment because it lost contact with its natural way of living. So there's nothing wrong with Albert. And I'm very surprised that all the time that I come to this city, he cannot get out of that place. And somehow when I come, he can attend the talks. I don't know how it happens, but they let him come to the talks. Maybe because he becomes more calm and then it becomes less problematic for the hospital. So now the hospital is allowing that to happen, not for the benefit of Albert, but it's for the benefit of the people of the hospital that doesn't have to deal with Albert. See, this is how selfish we human became. It's not for them. They don't do this for them. They do this for themselves.
Is your question answered?
One more question about one of my acquaintance is ill with cancer. Yes. And what can I say to her? Because it will be conversation, and I understand that she is a Christian.
Her happiness, her state of peace and tranquility does not depend upon any condition, whether it's physical or mental. As soon as she feels separate from the particular condition she's going through, there will be conflict. And I am not saying that a person should stop trying to change the condition, stop going to doctors, taking medications, and trying to get rid of that. Is absolutely natural. If a dog gets parasites, it will go to the garden and eat some particular grass and get rid of that. It's a natural thing within us that tries to take care of the body. So I'm not saying that she shouldn't stop being treated, but if she feels that this is happening to me, so there is me and what is happening, there will be conflict. So she can be in peace, in a complete state of equanimity, even within that particular physical condition. That's what I would say. I went through a spine injury, and still I'm going through a little bit of pain. It's not as much as before. It's not as uncomfortable than before. But it's just a physical condition, and you know that you cannot get rid of that. You can change it maybe, but it's not separate from you. So it's nothing that you can do about it. You cannot separate yourself from the experience that you're having. So that finishes the conflict. And then somehow there is a state of equanimity, one can say, or tranquility, despite of, or in spite, I don't know how to say, in spite of the physical condition. Even when you are going through the process of dissolution of psychological thinking, that it can happen only if it expresses itself. You can go through a particular mental condition and be in absolute tranquility if you don't feel separate from it. So it comes and expresses itself, you see the madness gets exhausted and it disappears. So it is all about this imaginary sense of duality. I and what is happening. Me and what I am experiencing. You are what you're experiencing. Simple as that.
What would be your last short advice to people?
Forget it all. Forget it all and be exactly as you are. I'm not talking about psychologically or socially or culturally, because now what I'm saying also is taken to justify I am the way I am, and I know you are unique. This is unique and this is unique, and every species on the planet is unique, biologically unique, and the behavior of each form is unique. So be the uniqueness that you already are, and stop trying to be what someone else wants you to be, or someone else that you yourself want to be. Be exactly as you are. You are perfect as you are. There's nothing to change, nothing to add. And there lies your peace.
Thank you for this talk.
My pleasure. Right. I need to go there because there was a phone call, maybe something important. I have to take care of that. Okay, thank you. Yes,